Hello, hello, my friends. Marianne back with you again for project number 8. But I know what you're thinking. You just watched project number 7. And I promised at the beginning, let's see, project number 7, we talked about making this envelope with the stitching around it. And I promised at the beginning that I would show you how to get the stitching look if you don't have a sewing machine, don't want to sew, don't like to sew. And then I didn't. I was so focused on keeping it to about 30 minutes so I could get it uploaded quickly for you that I completely forgot to show you. So before we start project 8, I'm going to show you that. So, okay, you saw me make this envelope on project 7. So as soon as I turned the camera off, all I did was put a little piece of ribbon across the top there, and I glued that with Fabri-Tac because it's fabric and it makes it hold a lot longer. And then I stitched it. Or did I stitch it? No, I didn't really stitch that one. I didn't, but it looks pretty darn good like stitching, doesn't it? So there are alternatives, and I'm going to show you on both of these. Here are my stitch alternatives. Stamps. Love stitch stamps. This set, trying to remember, I think that I got this set from Linda Israel's shop. And I like it because maybe it was another shop. Oh, geez. I'm going to have to go try to figure out and remember where I got it. I've had it for so long. I like it because it's got 7 different stitches. And so all you need is an acrylic block that is long enough to hold these. And if I'm going to make it vintage, like this is, you know, this is kind of all nice and brown and vintage. And so I just wanted a soft stitch on there. I didn't want, you know, a harsh black with that. So this, I'm going to use Vintage Photo Distress ink. I don't need my little tool there, but you know, if I'm doing something where I might do the edges in pink or blue or something, I can make the stitches any color I want. So for example, this one I stitched in pink. So okay, so I'm gonna do a couple different ones on here, and then I'll just sample the rest on here because I want you just to be able to see what they look like real quickly. And then our number 8, let's just start on the end here. Our number 8 project won't take very long. We just won't let it take very long. But I know if you haven't seen these before, it's kind of hard to tell on here once they're peeled off and stuck back on. If they're not stuck exactly on, all you see is a big black line there. So, okay, so here's one. Here's one. I'm gonna try to ink it up all the way across, and I'm gonna go across the bottom here because that's a big long, and I like it right against the bottom. Okay, although this one has a couple of different planes. I mean, it's really not straight, which is great. Okay, can you see that? How it's the zigzag kind of, you know, gets pulled and then it's correct, and then, you know. Yeah, so if you're not, here's the thing about junk journals. If you're not a great sewer and you're like, well, I'd like to sew, but I'm just not very good at that, it doesn't matter, because the whole thing about junk journals is that the sewing is all screwed up and ski-wampus. So that's pretty darn awesome. And so with this, I can choose whether I want a fat spot or a skinny spot or an almost pulled straight spot, you know, to go wherever on this, you know, whatever I'm stamping. See, so it looks like I then went to the corner and oops, I couldn't quite get it together. Now I got a good zigzag going and oh man, I'm screwing up again. Okay, and then I'll do the other side, and I don't want it to be exactly the same, so I'm gonna position it just a little differently. Oh, that one went right off the page. Let's see how that looks. My fingers slipped. Ha! That's awesome. Because that happens all the time when you're sewing. My finger slipped and the block went that way, so it went right off the page. I can even do right across here. Okay, and I can do everywhere. You saw what I did on this one. I even did it on the ribbon on that one. Okay, but I want to do something different on here. So there's one. There's one. No, let's just stick it back on where it belongs, Marianne. Okay. Yeah, were you yelling at me as the video ended? Like, hey, you forgot to show us the stitching. This is an interesting one because this is like, yeah, I don't know how to sew at all. And I just got this big old mess of thread going across here. Do the whole thing. Okay. There we go. So that's a fun one. And all the way down at the end here, it's a little bit different. So let's make sure we get that on. Doesn't even have to be straight. I mean, that's the whole thing about sewing these vintage things, is it just kind of goes anywhere. And let's just get to the end there. Okay. And let's make sure the other side has some of the same kind of stuff on it with threads hanging everywhere. That's a good one. You can even mix them. I might do this here, and then I might put a different one for the front there. Okay, so that's the second one in this set. I will really try to find, I have no clue where I got this set. I don't remember. It's been so long. I do know that Linda Israel has a set of shabby stitches in her shop, lindaisrael.com. I know that she's got a set, but I don't know if it's this set or if I got this somewhere else a long time ago. But I know she's got one. It's got at least 3 or 4 stitches on it. Okay, so here, this one's kind of like bird footprints. Okay, and I'm gonna go all the way up here. See, there's a little bit on the end that didn't get. And I'll just take this, add it on. You can't even tell. That's the thing about shabby stitching. I don't think I inked that all the way down. Okay. And a little bit more right there. Okay, perfect. All right, so the others I'm just going to do on here just so that you can see what their print looks like. You know, you might get a favorite that you just use a lot, or you might find that when you're doing vintage, you like this. If you're doing, you know, I don't know, different things, different types of things, different types of stitches. Okay, here's one right here. There's my sewing. I'll do it again just for fun. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Okay, 3 more. This is the one that I just did on the garden handbook page envelope we did in Project 7. Lighter there. Okay, and oh, this one looks even more like bird prints. Bird prints in the snow or in the sand. Okay, so today is April, what is it? April 16th, I think. April 16th, 2020. And we had snow today. Not much. It didn't stick, but we had snow. We actually saw it falling from the sky. Hilarious, huh? Got really cold and probably froze my daffodils that were so kind as to bloom last week already. Okay, yeah, that one really looks like bird prints. You know what? That would be really cute on a bird journal because it does look like bird prints, and it would just be kind of a play on stitches. All right, and here's the last one, but this way you get an idea. So, but you can check around for stitch stamps or, you know, shabby stitches stamps. You might check out lindaisrael.com and see which set she's got in her shop. Okay, this is just real simple. It's a straight line, and like you went over it twice, you know, and just kind of crossed over yourself. There, so hopefully you can see those and it gives you an idea. But yeah, you don't have to sew to get the sewn look on anything. These are all just stamps. So, okay, moving on. Let's get out of project 7. We might need this as a glue page. Let's go to project 8. Hope you brought some paper, because that's all we need. Adhesive, glue, and embellishments. We may not take time to embellish tonight on this one because we're keeping these at 30 minutes, and we already spent some time doing that on project 7. But this tutorial is going to teach you how to make envelopes, any and all of these, because they're the same basic folds, but like this is a play on a coin envelope. Coin envelopes they look just like this, but they're just little. This is a taller one, obviously, and I've cut that with pinking shears. You can use any kind of designer shears on those that you want. Okay, and this one is like a coin envelope, but fat. And this one, I don't know if you can see, but I did pinking shears down this side that folded. Okay, and this one is like the bank envelope that you get, where they stick the coins in here. You go to get, some money from the bank, they stick the coins in there, and then they stick your dollars in here, and then they send it out to you if you're in the drive-through, of course, So this is the bank envelope. And so you can put this in a journal, and you've got tuck spot here, and you've got tuck spot here, and you can even put it in the journal with glue on this side and this side, and have tuck spot here for big journal cards. Okay, so let's get right into making them, minus the paper clip. Oh, did I even bring any book pages over? Well, it would help if I had a couple. It would really help if I had a couple book pages. Let me see if I've got something over here that can be used. An appendix of something. Yeah, that'll work. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. If I don't like what's on it, there's more than one page here, but I'm just going to trim them up together. If I don't like what's on the page, I just want to use the paper, so I can always do stuff over it. You can do mixed media art. You can do fabric over it. You can, do stickers. You can do stamps or ink, or whatever you want to do. So, okay. All right, so there are 3 appendix from who knows? I don't know, might be a bird book. Okay, so let's start with this one. Wow, my brain. I just grabbed this and sat down. I didn't even think about how to remember how to put it all together. All right, so here's what we want to do. First thing we want to do is take this and fold it in thirds. Now, you can fold it in even thirds, or you can do as I did here and have this last one be just a small fold on the side, okay? Or you can fold it in even thirds where it goes all the way across. But for this type of coin envelope, that I would say fold it almost all the way over. Leave yourself 3/4 to 1 inch over here. And now we're going to fold that back. Okay, so we've got our basic right there, right? Okay, so now we need to create the flap, and we need to create the bottom. All right, so then you have to decide how tall do you want your coin envelope to be. So this coin envelope is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just over 6 1/4 inches tall. Okay, so maybe you like that, and you can stick bookmarks in there. Long tags like that in a journal. You could stick a couple bookmarks in there, would be kind of nice. Or maybe you want a little shorter. Let's see. Let's say we wanted to go, well, let's just do it the same, just for the sake of knowing exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, so 6 1/2, about 6 1/2 inches long, and then I know, so that you can see here, each of these squares is 1 inch. I know that I'm going to need a flap on the top. So how big do I want the flap? And those flaps are, pretty big. They come down pretty big. So, but you could make a shorter flap if you wanted. You could make a longer flap. So I'm going to fold it right there. and say that's where I want my flap. Okay, I do things the easy way. I mean, you can measure and cut and do all that, but if I can just like do it and then cut where I need, to me it's just faster, it's easier, I need less tools and less time. Okay, so now I've folded down where I'm gonna want my top flap to be, and now I go to the bottom and I'm like, how tall did I want it? I wanted it, about 6 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put the quarter up there. So I want to fold it up at 6 because that's how tall I want it to be. Okay. You're like, that does not look like an envelope, Marianne. It does not look like an envelope. You're right, but it's the right size. It's the right size for an envelope now. Now I just need to make it look like an envelope, right? Okay, so, all right, so at the fold here, I no longer need this extra flap here. So I'm gonna take a pair of scissors right here, and I'm going to go at the fold, and I'm going to go just above the fold just a little bit, because if I cut it right in the fold or just below and then I fold this up, there's a bunch of little paper in there that's just going to make bulk. If I go right above the fold and then I go at a slight angle into that corner, okay, so see where, maybe if I fold it backwards you can see, okay. So there's the fold, and I went just above it and then cut at a slight angle into, so the fold, you know, being at the point, it actually goes to right where the fold is. Then I can cut this little flap off because I don't need him anymore. Sorry, little guy. Do not need you anymore. Okay, right? And then, well, I don't need this either. All I need is the piece that folds up. So I just come over here, and I'm going to, on the fold, but again, remember, if I fold the bottom one up, I don't want a bunch of little paper taking up that space. So I'm going to open it, and I'm going to go just slightly above that fold, and I'm going to cut that little chunk out, okay? Okay, so see, when I fold that up, this would be gone. All right, so now I can cut this out right there. There we go, there's the bottom fold. Now, I don't know if you can see that close, but I rounded these corners because that's how they always are in the coin envelopes I get. The corners are rounded. So I'm gonna grab my corner rounder. There are a variety of different kinds. You can use any kind you want. And if you don't have one handy, then this works too. And this is how I would do it if I didn't have one handy or didn't own one. It doesn't really matter. I'd go like this, and I would round this corner just like that. And I kind of took a bit off, so I'm just going to keep going. Now, I want them to both to be the same round. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fold it in half. I'm not going to crease it. I'm just going to fold it in half. Bring this over here, and I'm going to use that as my guide without a shadow on it to cut this little corner guy. There we go. I never claimed to be a good fussy cutter. Okay, and now I've got a rounded pocket on the bottom. Okay, and so then, you know, if you ink this up when you put it up there, any little imperfections are not seen anyway. And you might even embellish right over the top of it too. Okay, so there's the bottom. Look at that. It can be rounded without even needing a corner chomper. All right, so we know this is going to fold over here, and then this is the bottom. Now with the top, you know what? That's exactly the same thing. I only need a top flap to go down. This one will be sealed, and this one will go open and close. So I know I need to cut this section out, and I know I need to cut this section out. So let me do the same thing. Come here. Now, on this one, I went just inside of that line. So this one, I'm going to go just inside of that line, always to the inside, because I need to make that little bit of a space for this to be able to fold down and not hit it. Okay, so then let me go out here and just cut that off. Perfect. All right, and now I've got this section here that I need to get off. And so I will go here. And longer pair of scissors would be easier to use for that, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Long scissors, short scissors, they all work. They all work. Okay, so if I adhere this down and I adhere this down, now there's the top flap of my envelope. And again, I would round the corners. This time I'll use this to show you how. The corner chomper, I just put the corner in. Now this is a small corner and it's kind of flimsy. So I'm gonna put it in and I'm gonna try to push the corner up here to get a better chomp. Otherwise, if it's down here, it might just kind of get stuck down there and it'll go down, kind of tear it, but it may not get a really good round corner. There we go. Got a couple little tiny hooks there. If they bug you, like they sometimes bug me, is that, you know, flimsy paper is harder to do there. And there we go. So now all you have to do is take, oh, we're running out of time. Take some good paper adhesive. And we want to glue this down. So all we need is a little bead down the side of this and right on the inside. So just follow the rectangle and put it over. Okay, we now have a tube. And then we want the bottom up. And all we need is right around the edge of this flap. Okay, there we go. And there's your coin envelope. Okay, all right, running because of time. Okay, so this is the exact same thing, except on the side down here, I took the pinking shears and just made a little fancy edge there. But if I ink that up a little bit, I might be able to see it just a little bit. There we go. So you can see the pinking shear edge. Okay. And then on the bottom, instead of making a big rounded flap, I just cut it off, and I even used a smaller piece of paper and put a very small flap coming up. Okay. And then the top, the same thing. Instead of having a big long one here, I only made it that long and cut it straight. Okay, so I'm not going to make that one in the interest of time, but this is the one that I think you're going to want to know how to make. This is the bank style envelope. So let me grab another one of these pieces of paper. Okay, and so it's similar in size. Oh, that is pretty darn similar in size. I'm going to turn it this way. Actually, I wonder if that's from the same book, because it's the writing is going that way too. So because you can make this way, or you can make it this way. Now, if I was doing it vertically, with the paper vertically, I would probably want a little bit wider, fatter piece of paper. And so if it was a bigger book, bigger and wider, I might even just cut the page in half, and so I could do two, one with the top half, one with the bottom half. But because it's not, I'm just going to turn it on its side. Okay, so this one I want to fold in even thirds. So one side over, the other side over. So I'm going to do this so I can kind of see where my even thirds are. Okay, that's pretty darn good. Now I just want to make sure that they're even, not hanging over like that. Helps if they're even. I mean, it's paper. You can always straighten them out after. It doesn't make any difference. But if I can do it all in one, then that's great. Okay, so I can see that there's a little more there than there is here, which tells me something's probably crooked. Now I can see that I'm a little crooked on that fold. So I'll just come in here and I'll refold that one. No big deal. So now when I put this one down, line up the edge there. Okay, there we are. We're good. Okay, so now we know top and bottom, we just want a small flap to close the book. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try to make it even all the way across. Hard with that many pieces of paper in that fold. And same thing on the bottom. I'm going to fold it up. 1/2, 3/4 of an inch, doesn't even matter. However much you want. It's just, you know, your envelope. Okay. And now I'm going to open it up. And so I know when this is open in thirds, the only thing I need is the center section, because that's the part. The center section is going to be my closure. So I don't need the outside section or the center section. So in the interest of time, I'm going to grab a little bit longer scissors here. And I'm going to go right below that fold so I don't have a folded piece of paper getting in the way of this crease. And I'm going to go just inside that crease there. Come over here and go just inside this crease here and just below, just inside to the inside of the item. Okay, there we go. Okay, fold it in thirds and I've got a flap. Perfect. Okay, bottom the same. I need to be able to hear the bottom up. So I folded it, and so now I open it up, and I know I only need the center. So I'm going to go here just inside, and just inside, and then I'm going to cut out just inside this entire chunk, and just inside this entire chunk. Okay, so this is what we end up with. Now you could make a big old template just like this, or you can just take a piece of paper and fold it, because then I like taking a piece of paper and just folding it because it doesn't matter what size. It can be any size I want it to be. So if today I want it to be this size, tomorrow I want it to be this size. Oh, I did one. I just put one in a journal where I used the instruction sheet out of a sewing pattern, a dress pattern. So it was great big. It was like this big, and I cut this out. Okay, so now I need this little wave pocket in the front here. Okay, so that's here. So all I'm gonna do is take this. I'm gonna use, where are my medium scissors? I got big ones, I got small ones. I'm gonna start here, got plenty of room, and I'm just gonna go over here, and I'm gonna start coming up. And I'm going to come all the way over here, and I'm going to curve up. I think I'd like that to be just a little softer edge there. Not doing such a great job on that one. Okay. There we go. Look at that. There we go. So if I ink that just a little, maybe you can see. I'm really trying to hurry to keep this at 30 minutes, guys. There. So you can just see that edge where that is. Okay, then I want to leave this open. All I do, I'm gonna close this just a little bit. Come on. You didn't yell at me to put my pen back. Okay, maybe you were yelling at me to put my pen back in it. I just want to close the bottom to help that stay there in place. And then I'm going to close this bottom here. Just need a little on that rectangle. Close that up. There we go. And voila, we have a pocket, and we have a pocket. And if you mount it in your journal this way, you can have a pocket right here too, another tuck spot. So I'm not gonna embellish those because you know how to do that, and we are out of time. So I didn't even bring number 9. Oh, here's number 9. It's sitting here right in order as it should be. Okay, number 9. Can't show you that. Project number 9, I'm going to take this out because I'm afraid that it probably gives you a lot of glare. Number 9 is a variation of number 4. Project number 4. Do you remember, I'm looking to see if I have, oh, here it is. Do you remember project number 4? It was the flat fortune cookie. That's project number 4, so that's a teaser. Number 9 is a variation of number 4. So we need book paper, scrapbook paper, plain paper, not cardstock, it's too thick, and glue. That's all we need. So see you soon for 9. Make a bunch of these envelopes. These are awesome. You can fill them full of ephemera. You can put them all in journals all the way around, making them slightly different from each other, and they look like completely different envelopes. But make sure that you make one of each to put into your idea book, okay? That way you'll have it and you'll remember that you've got the variations. You won't forget about the bank, you know, the bank style. So, all right, I will see you soon doing project number 9, more paper. And I think that number 10 coming up after that is with envelopes. So that will be fun. And I'm still working on some exciting new direction for us coming for the future. And so I will keep working on that and try to get these up quickly as half-hour videos so that you'll have more fun to make while we're getting things in place for our future plans. So stay safe, everybody. Take care of yourself, and please take care of your families and your loved ones. Bye.